Good evening, Porom. Bishop here, running the triple gateway CPU raid again here. Just to have a little bit more fun, we're going to go here with Shadow and Setzer and Cor. So if you saw the last one, I did it with Porom instead of Setzer. I wanted to see how Setzer would do here with this. So while I'm setting this up, so I'm going with the set there. While I'm setting this up, if you would please consider leaving a like or a follow if you've enjoyed the video when you get near the end or when you stop watching, and please consider commenting, because I appreciate any constructive feedback to help improve my gameplay or my commentary with that. So thanks for considering it, and let's get back to the video here. So I'm setting everybody up. I got everything set here. Shadow's got his turn. I've got Zach's lock on. I'm setting up Kurosame's debuff here, and I'm about to put fixed dice on everybody. Now, one thing you'll notice, I've got Titus's call on Cor, and I didn't use it here, or the first time Cor was up, for a very good reason, is the bosses will come out of break, and they'll actually keep getting pushed back a little too far. So as you see here right now, B is getting attacked. If I had to put Titus in right now, B would be coming up in with the order here. As you saw, it just got broken and pushed back. A would have also gotten a turn here, and Shadow wouldn't have got the chance to delay. And I ran into, with this team, a lot of problems early depending on turn order with letting the orb would count down to 0 before I could get a dodge. So that's why I waited on Titus for a turn here with this. So right now the idea is just basically same as before. If you saw my run of this with Porom, focus everything I can with Cor and Shadow on the main CPU. And what we're going to do here, you already saw me do it once, and you see me with Setzer do it again. The next idea is to use Setzer to keep delaying C as much as possible with what I can there, in order to make sure that we don't get too many heals, or we don't get very many heals here on the boss, because that's the thing that'll really slow you down, is having to fiddle with that guy just so much here with this. So a couple of things here with Shadow that I'm not stressing about. I'm not going to get fixed dice on Shadow. You really don't need to worry about that, since he ignores defense on God knows almost everything that he does. But again, the biggest thing I was worried about is making sure that when C was going to heal, that was why I wanted to push him back as much as I can. You can't keep C from healing often. You've already seen me do it once here with that. So, but the idea is to limit as many heals as C can do here with this. So I'm just trying to get as much as I can here down with that. So unfortunately, since I'm paying a little bit more attention to C, I'm not always paying the best attention here to my LD buff with Shadow. So as you saw, I kind of was like, oops. And then all of a sudden I realized that I had a 1. So that was a mistake on my part. What I would have done if I'd have known I was going to tick down to 1 and then hit assassination again, I'd have thrown I'd have done another wild throw instead of, so that was a misplay by me not paying attention with that. Like I said, I was a little bit more obsessed with, again, C is the one thing I was really watching. Now, one thing that I did learn here with this that you just have to, be okay with, you got to just use Reaper's Gale even if you have fixed dice. If you try to play the game where you get the free, you lose, instead of losing a turn in order to get fixed dice, you start hamstringing yourself with other buffs and things like that. I just kind of said, you know what, the heck with it. I'm going to have plenty of opportunities here to keep him situated and maximizing as many fixed dice attacks as I can here with that. That is the nice part with Shadow. When he's linked in there with Cor, especially if Cor has the fixed dice debuff, you can just get so many possible rainbow attacks that it's really not even funny. Now, one thing you do have to watch out for here is when you are running low, which is why I was a little concerned. This is where I was kind of not as aggressive with Setzer's EX with this, because I was a little bit worried about C getting more turns than I wanted. So you see, like with that heal right now, with this. Again, it's not bad. I wanted to kind of maximize what we were doing here. So I'm going to lose, unfortunately with that, I'm going to lose the rainbows here on this turn, which is not good, but it's okay. You know, I'm going to get damage either way, and any damage is pretty often good damage here for that. Now, the one thing that you do want to watch for here, and if you'll notice the boss here, he is taking his last turn with lock. And so now this is actually an important time for this, because you don't want to reapply lock. What I'm doing right now is I'm setting up to bring in the range friend. And then so Setzer, or not Setzer, Shadow is set up that as soon as Reigns is out, he's ready to go one more turn, and then hopefully the boss will be taking a turn, because the orb is a concern that you have to watch out for here. Because as you can see, I'm coming back in here with Kurosami's debuff, try to maximize as much damage as I can, refresh and dive bomb and getting it onto range, refreshing the debuffs here, and that's going to play a role here a little bit later when we get out of summon. With what we're doing. So I was kind of taking a peek on the orb, because I really didn't want, I wanted to use that Reaper's Gale outside of the summon, not in the summon, because I would have lost a turn here with that. So checking to make sure I had a good amount on the debuffs, so I was refreshing Cor's EX debuff here. So I used the EX here because I'm not going to be able to use the LD, and I just decided to leave the turn order right where it was. Getting rid of the buffs, the enemy's buffs would have been nice, but not really my primary concern with that order. So like you see, now is really when I'm going to be able to take a lot of damage off the CPU, because Setzer right now is going to be focused on C and just pushing C back into the Nether Realm as much as possible here. Get as many of those red cards in as I can on that guy. As you can see here, I've went from probably about 55, 56% on the CPU. I'm already down to about 35, so that's a 20% difference, and I still got 2 more launches. It's quite impressive the amount of damage Reigns can do. I kind of wish I used Reigns as a friend or as a primary, because my gosh, yeah, the Reigns is just ridiculous. I don't know if, you know, he would have been interesting with Shadow, but I wouldn't have been able to play with the LDs quite as much, because then I would have missed some opportunities to keep that orb ticked up. It probably would have taken a little bit fancier play there with that. So, like I said, now we're going and we're just pushing C back. We're pushing that defense node back just as far as we can go here. And so we get our last range launch in here. And so as you can see, we went from about 55 down to about 19. That's just crazy. Oh, now this is what I'm going to hate. Despite the fact that C is in the Shadow Realm, and I'm just trying to shove as much damage as I can here on this, I'm going to hate these turns here from C. Now, the big thing you noticed here right before that turn, I had to put freeze on the boss, because that was the only way Reigns was going to survive without taking a massive HP attack. Now, as soon as Shadow's back in, you noticed I put the lock back on. And there we go. So now we're all set up, ready to go for the finale here. It's just going to be a matter of, you know, how long is it going to take at this point? I was hoping I was going to get this at under 40 turns. It just didn't quite work out this way, and I started getting a little annoyed with C. So let's refresh the dive bomb now that Cor has lost it. And there's a heal up to 17. So I was like, all right, we got a little bit down. And this is where it got really annoying, because C was getting another heal in a row. I was like, how in the world is this thing healing twice in a row? I could not figure that out. No, the life of me, I could not understand that. And that's where I made a huge mistake. I should have just fired right off at B and just said the heck with it and let it go. And it actually gains back more damage than it healed up the last time. So that was a misplay by me, especially at this point, because Kurosami's debuff is kind of refreshing and resetting as it's going through. quite annoying with that. So, like I said, I had to keep my eyes on the prize, and I misplayed that one entirely. So, but here we go. We're sitting up here, and I got a little bit smarter there. I was like, okay, I'm going to have to refresh Assassin. So let's use the free turn, get it back up, and I'm just going to be able to do just a boat ton of damage here with that. So since I noticed that C came back came out of break status, and it was going to be, that's why I went ahead and freeze jokered it again, or not a freeze joker, red carded it again, because it was going to get a break and go behind B, and then I was going to get another delay. So that's exactly what I was looking for. Like I said, Setzer's job is to pretty close to automatic rainbows and delay the defense node as much as possible. So popping as much as I can here with Setzer. And so I wanted to make sure that I didn't take another hit and then have to recycle everything through again with that. So that's why I did the evasion and the extra hit. And then there we go, Setzer with the finish. So again, not as more turns than I was hoping for, but in actuality, I didn't think it was that bad a run. Kind of interesting though that the good old the friend Reigns didn't have a third artifact on there. So, but it was interesting. Hey, still did a ton of damage. So again, if you wouldn't mind, please consider leaving a like and a follow or subscribing, because I'd appreciate it. Like I said, I'm on that drive for 5, trying to get to 5 people. Yes, sir. And then we're going to, if you don't mind, please consider leaving a comment, because I appreciate any comment or any constructive feedback to improve my commentary or my gameplay. Again, I hope you enjoyed watching. I hope this gave you some ideas. I appreciate your time today, and we'll see you hopefully for T6 fairly soon. Bye.